Hey, my name's Ryan Rapley, co-founder, CEO of Gavel, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Behind the Gavel podcast. Today is a very exciting one. I'm joined by Jay Madheswaran, the founder and CEO of Eve AI. Eve AI is the leading AI solution for plaintiff law firms. Jay has over 15 years of experience in AI and machine learning at places like Facebook and Rubrik. Prior to founding Eve, Jay was with Lightspeed Venture Partners. I am very excited about this because I am personally a nerd. I'm way down the AI rabbit hole. A lot of people know that I have been vibe coding a lot of software, and it is just, I just love it. I mean, where we're at and where we're going is mind-blowing. Recently, I heard of some of the new enhancements and new technologies that Eve has created. More specifically, as a marketer, I care about the intake process a lot and how folks contact firms and how firms answer their phones or respond to their emails, all of this. And one of the biggest hurdles right now in legal, I guess it's probably always been that way, is the firm actually answering the phone and not going straight to voicemail. Well, Eve has AI answering agents that can talk and answer your phone, and it sounds like a human. It's got empathy. It's mind-blowing technology. So I want to talk to Jay about that today, and then just get an overview of what is Eve and where they're going, and just nerd out a little bit. So I'm excited. And Oscar, let's bring in Jay. Thank you for joining us today, CEO of Eve AI. I'm blown away by the growth that you guys have had in the space. You know, I go to a lot of conferences, and you guys kind of almost came out of nowhere and have, in my opinion, and from what I have heard from other people in the industry, have really become the best AI platform for personal injury law firms. Why don't you just give us a little introduction to yourself, a little bit about who you are, and just a little bit about Eve?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here. We're huge fans. You know, for me, I kind of grew up in India on a lower middle class type of family, which, if you know India back in the day, was pretty rough. You know, we had like limited access to water and limited access to food, things like that. And I think in me has always been like this underdog versus people with stuff. And that to me has expressed itself so fantastically with personal injury and, you know, plaintiff law firms in general that are fundamentally disadvantaged in their fight for their clients. You know, their clients are disadvantaged and they're disadvantaged. And now with the skill sets I've kind of built over the last few decades, we're finally able to give that back and fight back. And that to me is very exciting. So like innately, I'm a builder at heart. I've been building forever and solving problems. I was early at Facebook building a lot of their AI and ML. It used to be called machine learning back in the day. And that was very simple, right? Like it was things like, how do you show the right next post on your feed? And now that's kind of grown to power all their ads, and it has now societal impact, of course. Then I did a lot of time building really secure software for the three-letter agencies, Fortune 500 companies, to back up and secure their most trusted assets. And that's really where you really learn about how do you build trust in a system where anything going wrong is massively horrible. To put things in perspective, you know, we were protecting against literally state-sponsored attacks in that company, right? So like, you know, I won't name which state, but like people are.
We know. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But people are kind of attacking, you know, healthcare systems and government systems, and you know, with ransomware attacks, and it leads to people dying here. It's actually real consequences.
Yeah, terrible.
And in that type of system, how do you build a solution that you fundamentally think about trust and safety at its core? And legal has been kind of this perfect mix of all of those learnings, right? So how do you make AI work, but also how do you make it the most trustworthy it can be and still have high levels of accuracy and high levels of value to your actual workflows? So that's been the, I think, fun part of building Eve. And of course, I'm sure a lot of people watching are personal injury attorneys and owners. The owners are, they have a lot they would like. And I think I love meeting those expectations, which drives me.
That's awesome. When did you have like the light bulb moment of looking at the legal industry as a potential suitor for your technology, or what did you see as being like, there's got to be a better way? And then why in legal and not healthcare or some other industry that also needs these AI platforms?
Absolutely. I mean, when we started, so before we were doing legal, we were doing AI training for Fortune 500 companies and also law firms, funnily enough, because law firms had a lot of documents and data and there were automation they wanted to do. And during this time, we had learned how to take models and apply it for these workflows where accuracy was really, really important. And the workflows to use after that accuracy was really important, right? So the problem with AI and software is like, if it's not good enough, you're spending more time reviewing the work than just doing it, which is basically a waste of time and money. And getting to that perfect level where it suddenly is useful and you are on a path of making it better and better is a pretty tough technical challenge. And it's a bit more art along with science. And, in the early days, it's more art. And then your whole job is to turn that into a science, right? Where you're turning that into mathematical constructs, which is what we've done now. And that led us down to, in law firms, we were seeing a lot of these death by 1,000 paper cuts style problems, and people were treating it very differently. So for example, you have a bunch of documents or contracts, people are asking us, okay, can you pull out the name, the address, the opposing party, maybe these other terms. And all of these back in the day used to be different models you would build. But given that we were so close to model development, we saw the early days of ChatGPT coming out and saw where it was headed, which is you didn't need to do that much fine tuning to make even larger problems happen. So with one of our early law firm customers, we basically just took that gamble. They kept asking us for, oh, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Can you write a demand? Can you write me a brief? Right. So the number of requests just kept going on. And the aha moment was all of this for us was kind of the same thing. Right. So if we had built, and the big bet was actually doing this in a pure AI way, which wasn't easy. That's why it took us a while to come out of the woodworks. Doing that in a pure AI way, if we can have an architecture that is able to handle all the case files and understand it thoroughly and use that to generate documents, generate insights, suddenly you unlock the entire life cycle. That was like a key aha moment. And when we did it, obviously the gamble there is like we focused on plaintiffs, whereas most of the money back then was on the defense side. So we were getting pulled. I won't name the firms, but plenty of large law firms. We were really the alternative to Harvey at the time, were kind of asking us for defense work. The benefit, I think, and why plaintiffs stand to really benefit a lot if they adopt AI properly today is the business model is a lot more aligned with adopting AI. The more you use it, the better you do. You're helping more clients, and helping more clients leads to helping you get even more clients in the future. And that is a very magical property of what AI is able to enable. And that's kind of why we focused on it.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of competition in this space, right? There's a lot of competition in our space in digital marketing. You guys kind of, I think, came out publicly a little late, a little after some of the other competitors, and you kind of jumped on the scene though pretty quick. And why do you think it is you've seen such success? Like, what's your key differentiator of why you saw such rapid success and has converted, some of my good friends and law firm owners from their other platforms to Eve, where they're saying this is head and shoulders better than all of the competition out there?
It's a really good question. I think this comes back to how you build and what problems you're solving for. So even today, for the largest part, we're still the only pure AI player. Vast majority of other competitors still use people in the loop. because it's frankly hard to get accuracies high enough with just AI,
Yeah.
where you're able to rely on your attorneys, paralegals to do the last mile finishing touches. And that is a massive advantage. Why is that an advantage? One, we actually introduced pilots. To us, there was no other way of doing it because I'm a very skeptical person.
Yeah.
So I'm like, of course, you'd want to try the product before buying it. That was my default state of mind. So we actually started doing, free pilots to customers. And because we're an AI solution, we can take that hit from a financial perspective for those pilots. And as a result, like you get to see it working on your actual case files and your actual cases. And in many cases, even during the demo and pilot, we were saving them hours upon hours of work. And that was like a huge unlock, right? Because people were being told these other things are AI solutions, but then they're waiting hours or days or sometimes weeks to get results back. And
you remove friction. I mean, we live in a society where our ultimate goal in life is to remove all friction. I mean, you even think of just, using your phone to pay without having to get out your credit card or, money. It's like everything we do is a reduction of friction. And we want things faster, quicker without more work and more headache. I mean, you solved a massive problem. And how do you, you talk about trust is as critical to the platform. And I mean, obviously you're dealing with very sensitive data. There's a stigma right now. We see a lot of hallucinations out there. How do you guys help protect the attorneys from those hallucinations? And I'm just curious on that.
A lot of different ways. So the thing we have to think about again is we put ourselves next to attorneys and paralegals while they're doing work. I think that's part of what made us successful.
Yep.
Is we're combining, now we have obviously lawyers as well in-house, but even before that, we brought our engineering talent and literally sat next to people as they did work. And this is important because it's the workflows and how you use the technology that almost matters more than accuracy. For example, if you hallucinate case law, the damage of that is much worse to you as a firm, to you as an individual, than hallucinating or making up things while brainstorming potential discovery request questions.
Yeah.
That's like a lower risk, right? So as a result of that, we've taken a pretty systematic realm at how do we design our systems such that we really cut down on error rates where it is disastrous and add additional checks and balances that aren't pure AI on top after the fact. And that's what we've done for things like legal research and similar things. Secondly, we've also made it a closed source system, meaning whatever you upload into Eve for that case is strictly used within that case. So it doesn't go wild and pull things from outside like you would in a ChatGPT or an Anthropic. That adds a lot of risk actually to hallucination rates and even accuracy of responses. Very simple, silly thing here is like if you're talking about John Smith and the AI knows about John Smith and other locations, you don't want to pull that information into your case.
Right.
So that's like another realm of safety. Last is like just a lot of data and a lot of work. So for example, like the thing we take on is when something does go wrong and you tell us, hey, you hallucinated, bad Eves. Right? We have to then figure out, okay, how do we not do that? And we build a lot of systems to reduce that from happening, and we can actually fix it, which is not easy. I mean, that's kind of where a lot of the engineering goes.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of all of that that's kind of helped. It's like architectural, which prevents it from making really bad mistakes. And the last piece that was like a really important, and I'm glad we did this decision we made architecturally early on, is we actually don't train machine learning models that are LLM based on your data. The risk of it hallucinating and remembering cases from other information is just too high. So we just don't do it. From what we know so far of these models, like it's just not possible to fix that really. So we haven't really ventured down that direction.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I mean, that's very, very cool. I mean, you guys, I wonder if the competitors are using LLMs more. That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think about, at the end of the day, AI is just technology, and you have to really understand it. And that's our job. It's changing every 2 months. So we have to understand it and deliver it in a way that actually helps improve your lives and the client's lives as much as possible. That's all we're building at Eve.
That's awesome. Now, I want to get into what I think in a lot of my clients and a lot of my, I think the listeners here, and I didn't even know that Eve did this before I was talking to Tad, is the intake process. I love everything you guys do to help the clients and to help their clients, and like that's great. But I'm a marketer and I drive traffic and make the phone ring and drive leads. There's a big issue of law firms not being able to answer their phone 24/7, or they don't think about it. Things go to voicemail, so they miss conversions, right? They miss the opportunity to convert that caller into a client, qualifying leads, like all this process. And I heard that you guys now have this, basically AI can answer the phone for you. Tell me about that. I mean, that's mind blowing. And like, it's crazy. Like every law firm, every business in the country should be using this.
Mm-hmm.
This just
So
sounds insane to me.
it's really, really fascinating. The reason we built it is as we're rolling out Eve for a lot of our early customers, interestingly, the entrepreneurial versions of them saw the opportunity to increase marketing spend because the labor component for how quickly are you getting your first demand ready, getting it out, all of that was starting to shrink in a timeline they could see and feel. So they're spending more on marketing, and now they're getting more cases than they can handle, and intake is starting to become the bottleneck. And with intake becoming the bottleneck, there are few categories of problems that we actually solve beyond just even voice AI, right? So the first is just the pure intelligence side of things. So how do you take the call, even whether it's through Eve, but Eve does have a voice AI component, which I'll get to, or through your staff? We actually integrate with your telephony system, Ring Central, Dial, whatever, what have you, Zoom. And if you don't have a telephony system, we actually even give you an app that's able to record calls, and that gets routed into Eve. And the moment it does, it actually uses your firm's knowledge and how you like to qualify leads to give you a score and ascertain, this is a good lead, this is not a good lead, etc. And you can then use it to kick off other workflows, whether if you want to like sign the client or not, or pass it to an attorney to evaluate further. All of that is actually able to be done within Eve. And the benefit of that is firms are actually using it to very quickly coach their existing staff. It's a never-ending loop where you're kind of learning from the field, you're learning from how your employees are doing, and you're training them. And Eve is actually able to help do that. If you see patterns, right? Like, hey, this person is consistently getting poor empathy scores. Why?
Yeah.
And it's able to tell you. So that's one component. Second component is like, we have a bunch of features around lead recovery, which gets into workflows and whatnot. The last piece is for after hours. I mean, you can use it whenever, but most people choose to use it after hours or when you don't have support or overflow. Eve is actually able to field the call for you. This is the voice AI component, which we actually had to train from scratch just because this is just what's needed to get to that close to human level of accuracy that people have. There's a lot of little tricks we had to do to make it sound and feel like a person, including we actually worked with a number of marketers like yourself as well to refine what the best tier of firms are doing for training their staff and training their intake. And we fed that into the model and actually trained it from scratch to be able to answer with empathy, but still follow the script and stay on track and do it as quickly as possible, right? And be empathetic when needed. If someone is talking about one of our early...
That's actually going to help your conversions because there's a lot of law firms where just front of office answers the phone and directs it. They may not have those skills, or the firm may not even think to train them on intake. I mean, there's still a lot of firms out there that if we come in and start doing marketing, they've never had more than one call a month sometimes, so they're not used to it, and the calls still go to voicemail, and that's death. Like if you miss a call, you're not going to get the case. Like people they're going to go to the next firm and call the next firm. But also with your intake, if someone's doesn't know how to handle talking to someone who maybe just had a loved one pass away or just got in a massive accident themselves or whatever the thing is, if someone on the other end doesn't know how to talk to them, they're not going to convert them into a client. If it, like, to me, this is so mind blowing, and I'm sure it's only going to get better. I don't know why any firm wouldn't just want to use this. Like, why would you not just 24/7 have the AI answer the phone for you? This is the future. I mean, this is insane. And it's here right now.
Mhm.
That's why I got so excited. I wanted to talk to you because, I was talking to Tad, my business partner, who switched to Eve. Yeah, I'm like, hey, actually sent him another link to somebody who is building something like this. And I think they're only in beta or something, but Tad was like, we can do this in Eve already. I'm like, what? Really blew my mind because I have so many clients who don't answer the phone, don't convert. And then it's like, it's awesome. So
I mean, I think you nailed it. When someone gets hurt, they're not going to be on your 8 to 5 schedule.
No,
Turns out, like, they're in pain, they're active, they're calling. And if you don't respond and convert at that point, they're going to go somewhere else. And that's just what happens.
There are firms out there spending money on local service ads after hours. They're spending money on pay-per-click ads after hours. It's voicemail answering, or it's Ruby, but Ruby's not going to be able to convert, or another call. Mm-hmm. There's some other call intake companies, right, that can help. But I mean, this just seems like no-brainer where it can just integrate right into the system, right into the intake management. Here's a question for you. So, because I have a lot of clients who use CallRail, can we integrate CallRail into Eve? Because in CallRail, some clients like it because we can mark it a good case, not a good case. You can do phone recording and all that. Would there be a way to just pull that data into Eve so they can use that as like their intake dashboard as well, and we can tie it back together? So me as the marketer can see, oh yeah, it was a good lead or it wasn't a good lead.
Our philosophy with integration is like, we want to focus on the core AI and helping you do the practice of law better and managing your firm better. We will integrate with anything that lets us integrate with them. That's basically our philosophy there. So we have a whole integrations team that's been pumping out a lot of integrations for customers, I think, including Tad, most likely.
Yep.
And this is just part of how we build software.
I love it.
It's really bizarre. Like, for me, I've come from very tech heavy solutions, and like a lot of competitors here tend to kind of kick you in the knees. And it's just bizarre, right? Like, all I know is I just want to focus on ourselves and build the best possible thing we can.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to continue to do.
I love that. I'm a big proponent too of like, why recreate the wheel if you don't have to? Like, if I can't make the wheel better, why just integrate? That's awesome. I
think there's that, but it's also reducing friction, meaning you've spent, as a firm owner, you spend time evaluating solutions, buying them, integrating them. And the annoying part sometimes actually isn't even the integrations, but it's training your staff to use said tools. And, the thing we have to think about is like, how do we reduce friction across the board to get a successful adoption? That's kind of the lens through which we evaluate how we solve problems, and we work backwards from there.
I love that. Where do you see Eve having the biggest impact for law firms right now? I mean, obviously, in my opinion, and marketer, I think the intake and the AI voice is just mind blowing. That's because I'm not a lawyer and I don't care about demands and all this other stuff. I care about getting you, the clients, and converting them. So I think for me, looking at Eve, this is a massive game changer. But where do you see the biggest impact for law firms right now that maybe isn't the intake side?
In general, it's typically just a practice of law. What's now happening is, so last year, it was largely around, let's say, demands and medcons for personal injury, more specifically. And there's still immense value to be had. If you're not using a solution, strongly recommend you check out eve.legal, of course. I'm biased. But now that we've been around for a while, we're actually tracking value to customers. And across the board, we're seeing either an increase in case counts. It depends a lot on your particular market and how you work, but either an increase in case counts, an increase in profit margins, or more typically like an increase in settlement rates. And weirdly enough, that happens first for less than obvious reasons, just basically mistakes, sadly, your team is already making, right? So because there's so many medical records you have to crawl through, people miss things, just natural. Even if they're trained, they're very fast and they built workflows to be fast, but they do miss things. And Eve is literally trained to go by page on things. As a result, because you don't miss things, we're seeing on average of 12 to 36% increase in settlement rate. Again, based on your average settlement rates, et cetera. I believe Chad Dudley published that more recently, where they're seeing about a 30% increase in settlement rate with Eve, which is
awesome.
Crazy. I mean, very, very, very good for them. And that's just what's possible now. From there, and this is the really cool part of the future, we launched this thing called Eve 2.0, which is a collection of products meant to help you manage your firm and improve the quality of service to your clients even more, which in turn, you get to decide what you want to do with it, right? Increase profitability, increase your volume of clients. That's kind of your choice. But what this is able to do is, now that accuracy is getting better and better, you can actually dictate how you do particular types of work, and Eve learns from your firm. And you can, that automated thing you talked about, that it's talking about there, that's, going bonkers, right? So what that allows you to do is all the things your top attorneys, you as firm owners would want to evaluate and review on every single case, it's able to do that automatically for you instantly.
That's amazing.
Continuously. So some of the more obvious places where it helps, of course, is like finding, TBI, et cetera, that's undiagnosed, which probably pays for the entirety of Eve in the average case, in our average price point, like immediately. But apart from that, more importantly, it helps you manage and run your firm at scale, and you don't have to worry about training your staff, kind of keeping on top of things. And that has been a huge motivating function. Since I'm like dying through hundreds and hundreds of tasks to manage your CMS, you just come to Eve, and now Eve will tell you what to do. And from that point onwards, the second component is agents, which is because Eve is able to draft these high quality documents and learn from your firm and use that information, you can now just have Eve kind of do it for you, right? So once you set things up once, it'll be able to draft and demand your style. It'll be able to write your brief in your style and point into things you care about, right? And that's like a big aha moment. So I think what we're transitioning from is, first phase was just make individual tasks better. The phase we're getting into is we're reimagining how firms run by, eventually people are going to have an army of these AI machines, technology, what have you, to manage. And that's like a mental shift that's going to happen, I think, this year.
So where do you see AI reshaping the role of a lawyer over the next few years?
This is something I've talked to a lot of law firms about, and also talked to law professors, and we're close to Stanford, who've been brainstorming and theorizing over here. Of course, we could be wrong. But one of the things I anticipate happening is, I think things are going to get a bit more litigation heavy. So pre-lit largely is going to get, for a good chunk of, I think, cases, going to get systematic and procedural, kind of the way it is right now. And litigation is going to become more and more important. And that in turn is going to drive pre-lit to get more and more intense. So I think that's the loop we're going to get into. As a result, I think a few skill sets becomes really important for lawyers. There's this concept that became bigger now in the software world called data mining.
Yep.
What it really means is, like, you have all of this knowledge and data you have accumulated over the years. How do you find just the right amounts that helps you with your task at this point and use it effectively? And I think that's going to become more and more the hard part of doing the lawyer work, which is you have all this data and you're going to compete against someone that has all the AI tools, can ask all the right questions, and that's going to be the competition. So the better you can really dig deep and find, here's the best strategy, here's the best opening statement, here's the best what have you from everything you've done in the past, that is going to give you a massive edge. And I think that's where we're going to compete, right? And you in marketing already know this, like the best, marketing stack gets incredibly competitive, with others.
Yep. In PI, it's wild. Well, I really appreciate your time, Jay. This is, so fascinating. I want to personally get a demo of the intake stuff. I want to call a firm that's using the AI answering and experience that myself. It's just, I've watched the videos and stuff. It just, seriously, I think it is a game changer for a lot of firms. Now, when you say I'm a smaller firm and I don't necessarily need like all the bells and whistles, is there like an entry level for me to where I can start getting into Eve and maybe let it grow with me and grow with the firm?
Absolutely. We have like a minimum that we sign up for, and then you kind of grow from there. And that is the part that we're trying to still tweak and learn. Is we don't want it to be a death by 1,000 paper cuts and upsells, which I know customers here get frustrated with other vendors on.
Yep.
So we're trying to draw the balance. Like I would like Eve to be as expansive as possible and let you use it as much as possible. So we're trying to also formulate the right pricing and thing for it. But today it's a pretty simple per case pricing, and you can kind of grow with it.
And that includes the AI answering and all of the whole suite. Like how does that work?
That is an added cost. AI costs us a lot per minute actually.
Oh yeah.
So we do have to find a way to charge for it, but I believe we still find a way to charge it back to the leads you work on or the cases you have.
Nice. Really appreciate your time. Anything else you want to close with? We'll have, how do we get in touch? What's the best way to get in touch with you, your team, get a demo, go to the website? I know it's eve.legal, but is there anything else, that you want to say?
I still respond to every single email message. So if you want to email me at j@eve.legal, I am here. And if you have any complaints or suggestions for the product, please let me know. We take it very seriously. And you can find a demo. If not, you'll talk to a real person. We're not quite using AI people quite yet at eve.legal. And I think one of the benefits also is now we work at so many firms. We typically can, if you tell us enough about your firm, tell you what are the right places to start, and you get to evaluate whether he was right for you or not.
That's awesome.
Also, big shout out to Tad Thomas. I know you mentioned him multiple times, but he is amazing, and we're so glad to be working with him.
He's my business partner. We started we're actually about to hit 10 years.
Nice.
In just a couple weeks.
Decade.
Yeah, decade. It's been really incredible to see his firm growth since we started, and to see where he is now, and also to see where we are now, to see how the industry has evolved and changed. I've been in this now, over a decade, and it has really drastically changed, and looks like it's changing for the better. And I think at the end of the day, the plaintiffs are going to get the most amount of impact out of this. Yes, we talk about
That's exactly right.
Reducing friction for the attorneys. We talk about reducing friction for the paralegals, for the whole case. But at the end of the day, the client, the plaintiff, the person injured is going to get the most value out of their injuries, and and hopefully they're going to see the biggest impact. It's going to make everybody better.
And this is already happening. Like, actually, here's the interesting thing you may not have thought about, Ryan. In voice AI, we service labor and employment as well, in addition to personal injury, and we're seeing some signs where clients and plaintiffs actually prefer to talk to a AI robot because it's more empathetic, and with some sensitive cases like sexual harassment or things they haven't really talked to anyone about quite yet. That's actually a weird moment where we're seeing technology help make the client actually get help and service.
We saw that, early days with like live chat, or
that's true.
The AI chat, because not everyone wanted to call. They didn't necessarily trust filling out a contact form. They wanted to chat with somebody, and they didn't want there's that sense of anonymity until you don't have to be anonymous anymore, and to get that early access to an attorney, they didn't want to call. There's some people that have stage fright. They can't call. They have the anxiety instantly, and it's easier to just chat with somebody and talk to somebody that way.
That's what I love about our industry. We're here to make their lives better.
Do you see, and sorry to keep dragging on, we've said our goodbyes now multiple times, but do you see yourself moving into family law as well?
We likely will expand to other practice areas. Today, we're still largely focused on labor and employment and personal injury for the most part, but just through, call it accident, or because a lot of firms practice multiple practice areas, including personal injury, we're already in, med mal is getting quite big. Mass torts kind of comes up quite a bit.
We have a big family law client who has like 20 plus offices, and we're merging everything into one brand. There's literally 30 different websites we're putting into one and really building a brand. Now I could see them really getting a lot of benefit over the voice AI and some of these capabilities.
Yeah, let's talk. I mean, we can connect you with some of our family law customers. Again, hasn't been a core focus because we're still launching so many
features. Capabilities are still there.
So. But the capabilities are there.
Yeah.
But our knowledge from our sales team probably won't be there.
Well, I can help do the sales.
Okay, perfect.
Great chatting with you, Jay. Really appreciate your time, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you at a conference here soon. And
likewise,
we'll have to have some dinner and just chat. I mean, I'm so far down the AI rabbit hole too. I love it. I got to show you something here offline when we're done.
I'll share something else with you too that's been going around my friend circle. So can't wait.
Awesome. All right, be well, buddy. Thank you.
All right, see ya.
I hope you all found that interview to be very insightful. I think Jay and I tried to end it several times, but we were just kind of nerding out and just more things were hitting us. We wanted to talk about, post wrap. We said we could have talked for another couple hours. I mean, there's just so much going on in the industry. There's so much new technology and solutions that are making the life of attorneys better, helping make the outcomes of their cases better. It's very exciting to see where we're at and where we're going. Eve is definitely at the forefront of the technology. They just keep innovating at a constant rate, and it's really awesome to see. I can't wait to see where we're at in the future. Jay is a really nice guy. Thank you, Jay, for being on. Thank you to Eve, and we'll see you soon.